With 7 steps, you have changed and become an immortal. You have actually turned into another being, like the caterpillar into a butterfly. Your old identity ends, and a new one begins. To make it even clearer, read again the fine book by Jean-Paul Sartre, The Game is Over. There you find a vivid description of how the souls of the deceased take part in earthly life by observing the doings of the incarnated people, partly sympathetically, sometimes annoyed, but without being able to interfere with their destiny. To many, a living one there follows at every step, like a shadow, a long row of curious ancestors or former companions from the world of the spirit. This is exactly how you have to imagine the coexistence of your body and your soul. Your new identity is such a subtle, transparent, spiritual being of the higher world, invisible to earthly eyes, which can pass through closed doors and walls. This being permeates your body. It stands behind or above you. Unlike with Sartre, however, your eternal individuality is able not only to observe, but also to act in the material world by using your body as a vehicle. You used to be the man at the typewriter. Now you are the spirit in the white garment behind him. Let us now look at some of the features of your new eternal identity. This will make you aware of who you are now. Or, better, as we are speaking about a development process of who you want to become as of today. Your new identity is a non-material, supratemporal personality, which already existed millennia ago, long before the birth of your present body, and which will continue to live on in eternity. You are a species of the spiritual world, which is not limited by the restrictions of matter, time, and space. We care not only about the earthly life, but even more about the supermundane existence. For the life of your eternal individuality, you must set up an interplanetary, supratemporal, and supramaterial plan. If you limit yourself to projects that you can pursue on this earth only, you will wander around aimlessly and unemployed in all other worlds, especially after the death of the body in heaven. What is death? At death, your soul abandons the body. It returns to its homeland, the spiritual world. There, it does not need a physical shell any longer. You, your true self, passes from one world to the other. This is like going from one room to another. That is all. That is no cause for concern. That is a reason for joy. This so-called last journey is an adventure, to which you may look forward curiously and confidently. We must die so that life may have a more perfect expression. For the sage, death is a delight. He may leave this earthly vale of tears. He may relinquish the body, which became, at the end of his life, useless and more a burden to him. He may return to his homeland, a far more pleasant plane of existence, where his true spiritual relatives are already waiting for him. People do much harm to themselves by limiting their awareness to one earthly existence. They build obstacles for themselves everywhere. There is no death in the sense of the complete extinction of your entire existence. There is only the transition of your spiritual being to the world beyond, while giving up the physical body, which is cast off like a worn-out coat. We do not die, but change. Can one speak any more clearly about eternal life? Your eternal individuality is as little affected by the death of the body as the rider by the death of his donkey. The rider continues his path and takes a new donkey. Similarly, the immortal soul, after the death of one of its bodies, continues its eternal journey. If it has formed a material body once, it can do so again. After a period of rest, you resume your work. We immortals do not believe in the fairy tale of a rest of eons before and an eternal rest after the last judgment. Do you realize what that would mean? To sit on a cloud and sing to the harp, or to be roasted in hell for an infinite period of time. And that because of some tiny merits or failures during only one single, insignificant, short earthly life. The fact that such an idea can arise at all shows that people have not yet fully grasped the concept of eternity. There can be no stagnation in eternity. All is in motion, in the striving toward perfection. A permanent standstill, the absence of any development, an existence without work and struggles, that would really be death. Namely, for every living being, whether spiritual or physical, an intolerable and unworthy state, especially as there remains so much to do, to heal, and to elevate here on earth. Can you imagine to enjoy the pleasures of paradise while down below in the material world misery continues and people are crying for help? In the certainty of your eternity, you have no reason to fear death. Fear of death is nothing but ignorance. How many people suffer just from lack of knowledge? Ends the ignorance, ends the suffering. There are some who suppose that man is continuously dying. Others know that man is incessantly reborn. The former are motivated by fear, the latter by joy. The former suggest death to themselves. The latter recognize life. Thus, man, to a large extent, predetermines his own future. The consciousness of immortality removes the fear of death, the depression, the sense of meaninglessness in view of the brevity of an earthly life that afflicts even religious people. Do you sense how Bach's words, "I am looking forward to my death," despite all the consolation and confidence of the melody, have a touch of denial of life?
Ich freue mich auf einen Tod, ach, hätte sich schon eingefunden, ach, hätte sich schon eingefunden, ach, hätte sich schon eingefunden. Ich freue mich auf einen Tod, ach, hätte sich schon eingefunden.
There is only one true consolation for the sick, for the dying, and for their relatives. The real self, the soul, is not affected by the transition. It only changes its whereabouts. In keeping with their opinion, scholars have proposed the ingenious consolation: man begins to die from the moment of his birth, a scanty and funereal comfort. But we say that man is eternally being born, and particularly at the moment of so-called death. In the past, the philosopher used to place a horrible skull permanently before his eyes and to repeat gloomily, "Memento mori," remember that you have to die. Today, we rejoice vigorously and joyfully. Remember that you are immortal. Your eternal self as well has a spiritual father, a spiritual mother, and spiritual brothers, sisters, relatives, and friends, namely those other souls to whom you are really spiritually related, to whom you belong, with whom you are living and working together over the ages in eternity. For them, there is the beautiful expression soul mates. With these spiritual brothers and sisters, you will be reunited at the latest after death in the world beyond. This is your true supra-temporal family. Nothing can separate souls bound by love. Your earthly family, father, mother, brothers, sisters, spouse, children, your blood relatives are not necessarily soulmates of yours. Among them, there may even be spiritual enemies with whom you have been brought together in order to settle old bills or to continue to struggle or, if possible, to be reconciled. This explains the tensions that unfortunately prevail in many a family. All too often, people meet who do not really belong together spiritually and who will separate already after only one earthly life in order to never see each other again. This, however, does not alter the fact that the obligations within the family are sacred. The higher standpoint only makes that what you cannot change anyway easier to bear. It is quite possible that you will not encounter any one of your true relatives during this earthly life. However, the certainty that you are secure in a community of like-minded people, at least in the afterworld, will help you to better endure a few years of earthly solitude. You should develop your eternal individuality by learning to distinguish who of the people you meet in family, friends and surroundings is really a soul mate. When we search for true friends, we will find them in the subtle world. Also, search in history for people, places and times which look familiar to you. Probably you were physically incarnated there in a previous life, together with your soulmates. As you gradually develop your sensitivity, you will be able to bring to light surprising insights into your past incarnations.